All right, so it says it's waiting for you to connect. So you just have to hit the connecting. You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Let me get this. Usually Instagram takes a little bit to get people to know. This is you never seen anybody go live before?
I've just watched the videos. I didn't know that you were filming them here. I have an assistant with me.
Your daughter? So everybody's starting to come in. I mean, yeah, this is a great thing for you to do, even for when you're tattooing or in general, because you can go live so people can actually see you and comment while you're doing whatever you're doing. If you're drawing, tattooing, whatever it is. It's just more interaction with people, which is what I like. Guys, everybody who's coming in, if you do have questions, please ask them. I'm going to ask my own questions, and then anybody, if you have questions, please do ask. You'll see people be coming in and out throughout the time because it lets everybody know that we just went live.
And my daughter's name is Kinsley, just in case anybody has any questions for her.
Oh, here's one. Well, before I even start, when you first, I have a bunch of questions, but when you first started Inkmaster, how old was she when you, like, your first season you did?
She's 9 now, so about 6. Yeah, she was about 6 years old.
I
Yeah,
feel like you didn't. Dang, there was been so many seasons since your season, which is crazy.
Yeah, well, I was on there twice. So season 3, she was about 6 years old. And then when I went
3
back
years
for
later, 7 more seasons. That's crazy.
Yeah, and then season 6, she was just turned 8. Yeah, she turned 8 while I was doing the show. It was actually her first birthday that I missed.
Oh,
I was there filming the show, which was, I think that that's an overlooked part of doing the show. A lot of people don't understand that we're there for so long, missing out on family time.
Especially if you last a long time too.
Yeah, the last time I was there for 2.5 months. So that
So
takes a toll.
So like when we see one episode, how many days is that? Like out of the week, they're filming what, 3 days, or they're filming like
usually we get about 2 episodes a week, so it takes 3 days to film a full episode. So it's 3 days on, 1 day off.
So you guys do.
We only have 1 day off in between filming each episode. So it's 3 days on, 1 day off, and it's just consistently like that throughout the whole time.
And on your day off, because I know, well, back then they were a lot more strict with like watching TV and basically with outside people.
No TV.
So what you guys do on your day off?
Personally, I used to. There's a lot of staircases in the studio. I want to say there's like it's like 48 to 60 something steps going up and down.
Yeah.
And I would get 20 spoons. And
20
then I would
spoons?
Yes, and I would do 20 up and downs. So
Oh.
the spoon was how I wouldn't lose count of how many times. So basically each time I ran down and came back up, I would put a spoon down. Then run down, come back up, put another spoon down, and I would just do that until I was out of spoons.
And then people are coming, like one of the other Inkmaster contestants, like, what? All these spoons on the staircase?
Well, everybody, like in the beginning, like when it's a full house, everyone's pretty social. So you have like little groups and support groups and little cliques and things like that. But the longer you're in the house and the fewer people, there's a lot of separation. So you're kind of like doing like the solo thing on the days off. It gets really lonely. Yeah, it's really weird near the end. Like when it's like the last 4 people in the house, nobody's really talking to anybody anymore.
It's like some Hunger Games.
Just paranoid. You're paranoid of people. Somebody's going to turn their back on you trying to get that last seat in the house. So it gets weird near the end of it. So their steps become really good friends.
So before even Inkmaster, what I want to know is to get more about you. So when did you first start tattooing? And like, how did you even get into tattooing?
1995. I apprenticed with Miami, who I did the season 6 with. So he actually was my mentor when I first started tattooing. But years like that was 95, but in 91, 90, I guess it was 1992. In the fall of 92, he did my first tattoo at his mom's house. He was tattooing out of his house. He had just learned how to tattoo. And then later on that year, he had his own studio. And so that was like my first introduction to just the industry in a way that, it just kind of appealed to me. Like I kind of looked at it like, I think I can do this. I've always been an artist.
So you were always drawing and painting prior to tattooing?
Graffiti type stuff, graffiti, cartoons, comic books, I was into that kind of thing.
Same with me from growing up. I grew up doing graffiti and a big comic nerd head, and I was going to become a tattoo artist at one point. Then life happened. For you, that actually goes to my next question. So what is your inspiration for your art? So you were doing the cartoons and everything, well, cartoon graffiti, going into tattoos. So was that really what was like your real inspiration when you started tattooing? Were you just tattooing whatever, like, because back then it was really whatever walked into the shop. But what did you have, like, did you try to sway people to do certain stuff even back then?
At that period, I was really into comic books.
Marvel,
for people, Image.
Image. Which one's Image?
Early Image comic books. Image was the main company. I guess their biggest one was probably Spawn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're old enough, one of the first groups of comic books that Image did was called the Max. There's an artist named Sam Keith. I was really into the Max. There was another artist named Johnson. He did a comic book named Super Patriot. And there was another guy named Dale Keown who did The Pit, which is like kind of like a Hulk.
I've never heard of any of these comics.
How old are you?
I'm 26.
Okay, yeah, you're a youngster. A lot of them, went for a few seasons and they cut off. I think Spawn was probably like the strongest comic book that they did. But I mean, a lot of those artists, like especially Sam Keith with the Max. Sam Keith did an animated version of his comic book with Liquid Television on MTV a long time ago.
Oh, nice.
So basically, the Max, like those were the kind of, it was like a real graffiti-ish kind of characters with big teeth. Go
now
figure.
Look this up. So did it look like the old school like b-boy characters that people used to draw? Where it was
all that, like just putting faces on things, man. Just like that's always been like one of my little things. Just take something and put a face on it.
So actually, let me see. Because I have a few questions when I would lead into it. So basically, actually, it leads to one of the questions I did have. Did you start doing snack twos, or was that something like where you did the snacks with the faces, or was that something like previous that somebody did that you really like picked up on, or you started the whole snack two craze?
There's a kind of little story behind it. Like during doing Inkmaster during season 3, they kind of pride themselves in making you not do what you're comfortable doing. You know what I'm saying? Like they kind of, like if you do new school, they pressure you into not doing new school. And so you're pressured into showing that you can do more, which the term one trick pony came up.
Which was quite annoying.
Well, you spend most of your time trying to prove that you can do more than what you're comfortable doing. So you end up spending that whole time doing nothing that you're comfortable doing. So when I came home, I honestly felt really deprived from doing like new school stuff. So basically, I would draw just kind of like weird new schoolish kind of things and put them on Instagram and offer them for appointments. And that was kind of a good way to find new clients that were really open-minded. And most people who would get like a popsicle with a face on it usually are pretty open-minded people, have a good sense of humor. And so it just became like a thing. So like the people that I found to get those tattoos were people that I could sit with and be really comfortable with. And so it just became like this thing that if I had like a slot open, I would draw something like that and kind of throw it up for grabs on Instagram. And it kind of took on a life of its own. So a few weeks into the showing, like I think it was like by the second episode, that I actually had some stickers printed and started selling the stickers. Then Jimmy joined me doing the stickers. There was a young lady from Germany.
I remember he did one of your snack twos for like a challenge. I forgot what challenge it was, but like they had to like mimic either someone's style. I remember he did it, if I'm not mistaken, on his season. Or he was always. I forgot what
like snack twos was just a gesture towards new school, you know. And Jimmy does like we totally feed off the same kind of thing. So he offered to do a couple, and he's always been doing them ever since then. There was a young lady named Ezra Greenglass from Germany. She did quite a few for us. Jesse Smith did a couple snack twos for us through the snack two thing. One of my friends, a guy named Garrett from Seattle, Garrett Adderley, he did a set of like some gummy bear He-Man snack two stickers. So we had like a cool following, man. A lot of people joined in and did it. Like I didn't have, like, it's kind of weird, man, because now if people do like some type of food with a face on it, like I get tagged on it and people like try to be like, oh, they're copying your style, this and that. Like I don't, it's not
it's inspiration.
My thing. Yeah, it's just whatever. I enjoy seeing people do that stuff. It's just, to me, it's just something that's a fun subject. I enjoy doing it. I don't want to do it like all day long, but for special occasions, a lot of times at conventions, I'll do quite a few of them. But I like doing a lot of other things too. So it's not just snack twos that I want to tattoo.
So what do you, so what do you enjoy tattooing? Like what, even though those like the little spin-offs that like you enjoy doing here and there, what do you really enjoy tattooing? Like the bread and butter that you would love to tattoo if you could every day?
You know, a long time ago, like I used to do a lot of Sacred Hearts and birds. That was like, that's what I wanted to do all day long, every single day. And this is like going back to like 2002, 2003. At the time I worked for Cap. Cap with Timeless Tattoo in Atlanta, Cap Sumsky. And I had this whole section in my portfolio dedicated to Sacred Hearts and birds. Like I want to say it had to be like 20 pages of just Sacred Hearts, just sparrows.
Oh, just like the traditional sparrows.
Well, but it wasn't traditional. It was more new school style. You know, they had like
with your
grins and just that kind of style. And one day Cap was like looking through my portfolio, and he's like, "Man, you got a lot of Sacred Hearts and birds in your portfolio, man. So that's what you want to be, like the guy who does Sacred Hearts and birds the rest of your life." And I like sat there and thought about it, and just, you know, I from there, I think I don't like doing too much of anything. I like to change it up quite a bit.
Yes.
I like to balance a lot of different things. I've worked with a lot of realism guys. You know, I worked with Dino Cook. Dino Cook does a lot of realism. I work with Cap. Cap does like a lot of black and gray portrait style stuff. So I definitely have a lot of realism inspiration from people I've worked with. Miami also, you know, Miami does a lot of realism, but Miami does some really cool new school. So I think I enjoy doing a lot of different stuff. But like for me, anything like on the new school subject is kind of free for all. Like I don't really have to look at a subject matter. I don't have to look up any kind of reference for it. I can just do it without any kind of assistance.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's like in a sense like an open book because you're basically putting your own creative twist, and that's the hard about new school because when people who don't do new school try to do new school, I mean, people think it's like the big heads and like I don't know. I like new school a lot. I still have got a new school piece. I'm gonna be going to Georgia hopefully in September for the Dragon Con again. So I definitely need to go to your shop. I mean,
You have a costume?
No, I don't cosplay at all. I don't know. I feel weird. Like I love literally. I have like a man cave in my house where I have my comics, my toys, and all that stuff. But just me cosplaying, I'm like, I don't know.
I'm commenting that Smith Christopher is saying he loves his Sacred Heart. Yes, he has. He has one of those older Sacred Hearts from back in the day, Mr. Smith Christopher's.
You just did a Sacred Heart too. I saw the one you drew with the face with the Sacred Heart.
Yeah, for the Norfolk Sketchy Lawyers studio.
Oh, that's where you did at Sketchy Lawyers?
Yeah, he had that art show, the With Love art show that he did for Norfolk Commonwealth. A bunch of artists did like hearts, and so of course I put a face on mine.
From what I want from you when I go to your shop when I'm in there in September, something to do with gaming. I remember last time when I was talking, it was like an arcade system with the face.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that face, I think it brings I love because I don't know if you've ever seen the videos where like people will show like trash cans and they'll make like the face so when they're coming down it looks like I don't know. I like inanimate objects becoming to life. It's interesting to me. So I definitely. That's what brings me why I like Snack-Tooist, and then the whole. If you ever seen the movie Sausage Party, it's just funny to think about.
Yes, Sausage Party is great. What games do you like?
What?
What games do you play?
Me personally, when it comes to like the PS4, I'm big into FIFA. I used to play soccer growing up, and then I dislocated my knee twice. So like FIFA is my way of keeping into it. I have a lot of friends. Like I have friends who play professional Street Fighter. I cannot play Street Fighter for the life of me because how complicated Street Fighter is crazy. I like Tekken more, Marvel vs. Capcom. I'm big into Nintendo. Tekken, I can get into Tekken because it's not as complicated with the joystick movements as a Street Fighter
in Tekken. Who do you fight with in Tekken? Who's your go-to guy if you're getting beat? Who do you go to?
Martial Law.
Oh yeah. I'm Hihachi.
Hihachi is it the old man or
the old man? He's been on every single one. Hihachi, yeah. I like Jin.
I like is her name Amy? The one who's a cyborg?
Yeah. I like the whole Kazuya fan. I like Kazuya, Hihachi, Jin, just anybody in that Mishima family.
Like
Bob. Bob's cool.
People, when I first played Tekken and I used Bob, I'm like, oh, let me see. But yo, he's fat. But they have a skinny Bob, but he's really good.
They do have a skinny Bob. Yeah, they do have a skinny Bob.
Cody said old guy plays the old guy.
Thanks, Cody.
Also, if you guys have any questions for him, please do ask. It is open, so if you guys have any questions, please do shoot it in here. I know we're both reading this.
Uruguay. Thank you.
But also, I'm a big fan of like Mario Party. I mean, the Mario games. I mean, all the Mario stuff. I was in New York for my birthday. When I went to the Nintendo store, I felt like I was a kid in a candy store. I don't know if you've ever been in a Nintendo store in Manhattan.
No, I have not.
Yo, they have.
Where is it at in Manhattan?
What?
Where is it at in Manhattan?
I literally I use Lyft
I have
to
to
get
find
me
it.
there.
I totally didn't even know that. I'll totally find it next time I go down.
Literally, they have
Hello, Venezuela.
They have the pole, and they have Mario like sliding down the pole. They have a whole like a bunch of lights. It's freaking awesome. Definitely check it out. All these people. All right, so now leading into Inkmaster. I mean, from both your times on, how was your experience being on the show? Was there a difference from your first season to the second season that you were in?
Yeah, first time was really uncomfortable. Just so people know, like that wasn't my hair. So
That wasn't your hair?
no, they made me do my hair like that. I had like a Snoop Dogg like
Yeah, you had like a perm or whatever it was.
that was a lot of weave.
A lot of weave, you said?
Yeah.
I remember when I think you were on stage. There's a picture of you on stage, and you look like Mr. Rogers, like you were in your.
It was horrible.
I'm like, I know they make you guys wear and dress a certain way, but I didn't think they'd make you do your hair a certain way.
No, they pretty much called all the shots the first time. The second time, that was one of my restrictions coming back. I put down that
I'm all
I
of
was
those
not,
costumes.
they're not going to dress me and not going to mess with my hair. I'm going to do whatever I want with that. And they agreed to let me have that little bit to come back. So that was like a really good part about season 6.
Which was a really good season.
Season 6 was difficult learning how to express myself, because I spent a lot of time not really talking. And if I did talk, they didn't show it. So just,
the moments I did talk, they just didn't put it in. It wasn't juicy.
yeah,
enough.
you just never saw it whatsoever. So it was cool. Like I had to figure out. They want you to share certain stuff about your background, but I don't want it to be rehearsed in any kind of way. So like if I was with a client that we had something in common that I was comfortable discussing, then I would. But it definitely they're pretty natural about everything. If they just run the cameras all day long and they try to catch really honest moments. So a lot of the stuff that you guys see that's not really rehearsed all the time. I can't speak for everyone, but definitely for me, it was just you just wanted to be more natural.
I was pissed when you were on the first time because, like, I even remember when they kicked you off. To me, which was the biggest bullshit, because it was for the black and gray thing, but some artists do use that trick of white to create different tones of black and gray. Not every artist is specialized with strictly black, with diluting it with water. So I think you did a trick, and it was a technicality that was a loophole. And for them kicking you off of that, pissed. Like, I was honestly pissed about that because a lot of tattooers do that. If you're a color, if you focus on color, you're not the best with black and gray. You're gonna use whatever tricks you have. Just like in one, I think in the season with DJ and Bubba, they had to do like I forgot I think they had to do cross hatching, but they used the needles the needles like this, which was a trick. And even the judges were like, oh, if you have it in your tool set, use it. So to me, that was kind of like contradicting what you did in your season.
Yeah. So with each challenge, like once we learn what the challenge is, we actually get legal rules of each challenge. It's actually written out.
Like they announce it, they go over like legally what.
No, we actually have a legal read of the challenge. Basically, they go over each rule and restrictions, and for each contest, there's a set of legal rules for each one. So basically, we're allowed to ask questions during that period, which could either help us or hurt us during that challenge. And so for me, there was always a gray area. Things that weren't mentioned or things just that weren't explained properly, that you can take those rules and bend them a little bit to your advantage.
Yeah.
But it's a gamble each time. Like for DJ and they took that gamble and it ended up winning for them. But there's other times where you take that gamble and the judges choose to like use it against you for taking that risk. And that
what did you personally think? Like, I don't know if you remember fully that when it did happen. But did you think like this is complete BS? Like you did you
well, we asked, can we use white? That was the legal question. Can we use white? And they said for highlights. And so I mixed my highlight with my black and made my opaque white. But it was just one of those moments, man. Like I knew that I was not following the direct rules of that challenge, you know, and I knew it exactly. The judges come into your room and they watch you like halfway through your job. And so Chris Nunez comes like walking in and he like looks, and then he looks at my ink caps, and they definitely had like that white black mix, like color to them. And he's like, "Did you mix white with that?" And I just kind of looked at him and I'm like, a little bit. And then he like walked away. And then I saw them having a private conversation on camera, like off to the side, and I'm just like, oh God. And the dude that I'm even tattooing, he's like, did you do something wrong? I was like, totally. So,
yeah, not from seeing that, because you were like from that season, you were one of the front runners. So that definitely was like an upset when you got kicked off that season, which I was really happy to see you get back on to season 6, which to me that was the Master vs. Apprentice was really good. I live by Coral Springs where Chris Blinston's shop is, and
hey,
Tyler Nolan's.
Hey, honey, can you get my plug out of the room? I have my charger cord over there, and I need an extension cord.
Yeah, mine's going too.
Yeah, I just need to plug my phone up.
You got it?
Hold on 1 second.
Also, guys, while he's doing that, if you have any questions, please feel free to throw it in the comments. We're all looking. Few shout outs. What is it? Unmade.
I don't think I need
I'm so sorry. I'm gonna
There's a red one. It's really long.
Unmatter Cience Bato.
Yeah.
What up, Alex Perez? He loves skin work. Both you guys are awesome, kick-ass artists. I wish I was a tattoo artist, but thank you, though.
Yeah, I need
What's up,
extension
Charlie?
cord, honey. This plug doesn't work over here.
What's up, Bruh? I like the name. All my ink came from skin works, Rocky Elbow and Heavy.
Oh, I got it. It's going. Yeah.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Like in the season 6, the Master vs. Apprentice, I was saying like Chris Blinston is from where I live, and then Tyler Nolan actually worked on my back. So like I knew Tyler, and I've been in Chris's shop like before, so it was really cool to see the hometown be into that. I mean, do you think it was? I don't want to say difficult because you in Miami. I mean, Miami's very old school, and then in the sense, and then you're new school style. Did you think it was hard? Like you being with, even though you guys are good friends, but two different styles in the essence of it. Did you think it was hard that some challenges you had to work with your master, and then, your mentor, and then seeing him get bashed over stuff? Because I mean, your emotions definitely was more apparent in season 6.
We had a great time while he was there. Like it was awesome while he was there, but when he got eliminated, that's difficult. You know, like we had plans of being there for like the long haul. So for him to go way earlier than me, like it made it really difficult. But at the same time, it definitely it was fuel. Like I definitely didn't trust anybody else in the house, so it kind of made it like you didn't really have to look out for anybody else too.
He got kicked off for, well, it was the horse, like where they had to do
the stained glass window challenge.
Which some of the challenges when you guys get them, like I as a like fan, I'm like, this is a really dumb challenge. Who the hell wants to get a stained glass random thing? So I can only imagine when you guys hear the challenge, what you guys like go through your head.
I think what they do, they listen to us complain about stuff on our free time, and then they develop a lot of those challenges out of our complaints. Like we'll sit and like, you know, like the cameras aren't running, so we're all hanging out in the house and complaining about things that we don't like doing. And I think they find a lot of their challenges through those complaints.
They're like big brothering you. You guys, oh, this would suck if this happens, and then next episode.
Oh yeah, and then the next day, very next day, it shows up. We're just like, oh great.
That's kind of how the phones are now, which is really random but scary. Like my girls.
Manhood. Oh, somebody asked how tall I am. I'm 5'11".
Damn, I'm short. Guys, if you have any questions, because I know people coming in and out, please do ask questions in here. Getting a lot of love. If you have any questions, now is your time, because he's a busy man. Just going through. Oh, I wasn't asking you. Is he from Miami, or is he just that's his name?
In 1989, I had just moved to Georgia from South Florida, from Boca Raton.
Oh, you were by me back then. Well, I live like 20 minutes from Boca.
Where at?
I stay in Lauderhill.
Okay. Yeah, so I lived in Boca Raton, and then Miami had just moved also from Miami. And so that's where his nickname, Miami, came from.
I was going to ask, because if there was any Florida related, it's super random.
Yeah, he basically, he moved to Marietta from Miami, him and his mom. And it was like one of those things, I got in trouble. I was being booked, and Miami was getting booked the same night that I was. And he had a palm tree and the word Miami cut into his hairline when he came in, and I like saw this dude. I'm like, look at this fella. And so not even like 2 weeks later, I saw him at a party, and we both recognized each other from a holding cell.
I remember.
And we were like that for that whole summer. It was a long summer of trouble and being rowdy. But we've known each other for quite a long time. Like me and Miami go back pretty far.
That's crazy how people meet. I mean, I would have never guessed that. Yeah, we both got booked together, and we just were like, we've been boys since.
Yeah, we totally met under those circumstances. It's a good story though. Every time we tell it, it's like who wants to tell the story, you or me?
So let me. Oh, well, I mean, me being, or just anybody who's curious. So being on the show twice, has it changed? I mean, some artists said it really didn't change their life. Did it anyway alter or change your life, or just you got more notice because of the show?
I mean, I've been tattooing since '95, so to be in this industry as long, like I think the first time that I went with the show, I had been tattooing 18 years before I went on the show the first time. So to go 18 years and not be recognized as a legitimate tattoo artist in your city, or get the nod from the artists that you look up to that since you've been tattooing, no sponsorships, nothing.
What?
Up until Inkmaster happened.
Inkmaster.
Yes, and Inkmaster, you know, people can say whatever they want to about the company, but you know, they made things happen that 18 years. I mean, who knows? Would it have come without Inkmaster? I mean, I worked hard and waited patiently for 18 years and you know, and nothing. And the show comes along and gets you free booths at conventions, free ink, free needles.
I've been seeing just from like a lot of the artists that follow, like Inkmaster has caused I would say controversy in the tattoo world, because like for example, there are some like big artists, not naming anybody, but I mean who do get frustrated because when they go to conventions, the Inkmaster artists will get really a lot of the love, and then they won't get any. Which, I mean, I would understand that too. Like for you, 18 years, you would think that your city would be would show you love, but now that you got an Inkmaster is when you got everything. So I mean, I think it's like a double-edged sword from everybody's. I mean, from the perspective of just looking at it, because it does suck being for somebody so long and then no love. But the minute you want Inkmaster, even for like one episode, it's like, oh, free, as you said, free needles, free booth.
But like I said, like I was doing it for 18 years.
Yeah, you were doing. I'm saying you were 18 years, and
beforehand.
That's where some artists
honestly,
to like,
if I sat around waiting for the people I look up to look out for me and kind of, give you that respect, I'd still be waiting for it, And Inkmaster did a really good job with that. I can't complain about it, man.
Have these artists now like reached out to you, or like ever since this happened, or the people you looked up to, have they tried to reach to you, or now like you don't really care anymore because you're on because basically you've been there and you passed them? Not a sense of your work, but just
I think it's more of a thing of just understanding that the people that you're trying to get nods from, that they're just not going to come, regardless. I could work 50 years and they'll just walk right by you and not pay any attention to you. So you just forget about it. Like I don't care about that anymore. Like I ended up getting something else that worked for me.
That's what's up. I mean, I'd probably be the same way too. Kind of like I tried to mess with you one time, you didn't want to mess with me. It's like that Mike Jones, when what did he say? He was like, back then they didn't want me, now they all want me.
It's true though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, honestly, man, like when I first started tattooing, I was working with Dino Cook with Psycho Tattoo. Mm-hmm. And right at that time in '96, he was getting on. Like he was doing a lot of conventions, a lot of promotional stuff with magazines. And it was like a really good time for him. And he shared that with all of us. So he used to bring a lot of us to his conventions that he had booths at. So going back to 1996, my first convention was the Richmond Tattoo Convention.
Is that Virginia?
Guy named Richmond, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Guy named Billy used to run that convention. And upon getting to the convention, I want to say throughout the whole convention, there might have been 3 black tattoo artists, including myself, at the convention working. One of them was Jazz from New York, and a guy named Anthony from Salt Lake City. Mm-hmm. And, there's 3 black tattoo artists in a whole tattoo convention. And that's what conventions were like back then. So, there weren't any, the artists that you had to look up to were Jack Rudy, Guy Atchison, Paul Booth, Eric Merrill, like all those guys, John Clue. So there's all these artists that were doing like really cool stuff back then, but a lot of those guys were pretty big, and the only contact you had with those guys were tattoo magazines. Like you couldn't get a minute to talk with those guys or nothing like that. So it was just, it was a period that you wanted to be acknowledged like those guys. So you just felt like, okay, well, those guys have been doing it for a minute, so I'm just going to work hard, and that day will come. And like I said, 18 years later, I'm just nothing, and Inkmaster, I remember them calling me up at my studio. I want to say Jesse Smith from season 2, yeah. He was the one that referred me to the producers. So they randomly called me up in my studio, asked me if I watched the show, and I was like, yeah. And they asked me if I would do it, and I was like, sure, I'd love to do it. And I started, going through the legal process to get on the show. And they literally, it took about 3 months of not knowing anything whatsoever. And then literally like 2 weeks before you get accepted onto the show, you get your plane ticket. You have no idea where you're going. You don't know what state you're going to. You don't know how long you're going to be gone.
When you get your plane
And
ticket, you don't know where you're going to?
Have no idea. I didn't know where I was going until I got to the airport and got my actual boarding pass.
Like,
so I'm like, okay, well, I'm flying into Newark. That's weird. Like, why am I flying to Newark? And they pick you up at the airport. You're not allowed to talk to anybody. Put you in a car, drive you to a hotel, and we spent like 3 days. I spent 3 days in a hotel room by myself, just going over wardrobe and rules and just all that kind of stuff for 3 days straight. So you're just like locked up in a room, not seeing anybody but the producers for like a while. And then the show starts, you know, and the show's like just, in season 3, they used to take our phones away. So we didn't even have phones most of the time. So we're just kind of just sitting in there, just have no idea what's going on with the outside world. They would give us our phones, but they would listen in if you called someone. So they would kind of have a producer like sitting next to you while you talk to make sure that you didn't like leak who was in the house with you, what you were doing, how you were doing. Like they literally had it locked down like that whole season.
So when you were in the hotel for 3 days, what do you do? Like the whole
push-ups and sit-ups.
Jimmy was
watch
like,
TV.
Jimmy was like, you can't get sparkle water.
It was horrible. Like the whole experience was difficult. But you know, they explain it to you before you even do it. Hey, Kel, you want to come say hello? This is my super tall son.
What's up, man?
He's 17 and 6'4", going on 6'5".
Shit, I'm like 5'4", going on 5'5", so I wish. I'm 26, so he's lucky.
We gave him that Target Similac.
So I mean, because for all you kids, how was it like did you watch the show with your kids? Like, was it like a family time thing, or were they too young at the time? Well, he must have been like 14 then when you first were on.
Yeah, we watched it, but I think there were times where I would watch it first and figure out if it was appropriate.
Filter it for them.
For them to watch it, you know? I mean, there's so much that goes on during the 3 days, and so many things that are said and so many things that are done that you have no idea how it's going to be edited at the end. Like there's so many possibilities. Like through editing, they can make so many different stories throughout a day, but it's just what they choose to do with their what they have. I hope one day that they release behind the scenes and like just a lot of extra stuff one day, because there's so much stuff that happens.
That would be cool though. Like if they, like how DVDs have the buy the DVD, get all the behind the scenes footage. That'd be cool if they did that. There's a lot of stuff that Inkmaster can and hopefully do. There's a season that I've been promoting every interview that if one of them hear this, I want to take credit for it. It'd be dope if they did a season called like Challenge, where like previous Inkmaster contestants can call out whoever they want from any season, and basically just like if you have it on a grudge, but like if you want to show you're better than somebody, or there was one episode where somebody did better than you and you think you're better than them, like just where you can challenge, like a spin-off like they did for like Inkmaster Angels, that would be cool.
I'm with you. I don't know who I'd call out, but
because I think the redemption shit was a real slap in the face for like if you were to go back doing the redemption and you have some canvas yelling at you in your face, like I think that was like a.
Did you watch mine?
I'm trying to remember. I watched. I'm trying to remember which one was yours. Me
and Navarro went riding around, and we went to a young lady's house, and we went to a restaurant.
Oh yeah, you
So
were behind the
like,
door, right? Or you were like hiding behind the side of the house?
I was
or...
hiding like in the bushes.
How real is that? When like, do they know you're even coming, or you legit are just like driving and knocking?
I mean, was it the lady's house? I don't know. I don't think so. But I mean, honestly, like, I had no idea who it was until like 2 minutes before we started filming. Damn. And they literally just kind of tell you, like, this is who this is. We don't know what's wrong. So,
What was the tattoo that you did? I'm trying to remember it.
Well, the first one was a woman from season 3. She was a flash challenge for the garter belts. So,
oh yes, and then you didn't finish it, right? It was like
no, I finished. I finished mine. Like, the rule was the tattoo had to go 100% around the leg. So
the back part wasn't done, or was it?
Well, I did a string. I mean, dude, I had so much garter belt. Dude,
you added a gun. You added a gun to it, right?
Well, that on the show, yes.
On the show,
she asked if I could add a gun to it, so I put a gun underneath it, and hooked hers up. She was really cool. The guy was the another flash challenge from season 3 where we had to cover up scar tissue, and I did a dog like biting guy's leg.
I remember that was a pit bull biting like a scar. Yeah, I remember that.
That one really surprised me, man, because I thought the guy was like super happy with it, and then all of a sudden, like, here he is, and he was like totally being an a-hole.
Probably when he got back, his friends said, I mean, covering up scar tissue is a bitch on its own. So like,
yeah, I agree.
I mean, I have my chest was a cover up, and I had some scar tissue, and that hurts. Like, getting tattooed with scar tissue hurts. So I mean, but for his thing was pretty bad, that scar that he had.
Yeah, it was. In my defense, though, the producer came in right before we filmed it, and she assured me that they had quite a challenge trying to find somebody that was willing to come back and say that they were unhappy with their tattoo. So definitely super happy for most of my canvases for turning that opportunity down.
Just trying to come back to get another tattoo. Some of the tattoos were justified. I mean, yours is the one that you did with the garter thing. I mean, people don't realize the time restraint that you guys have, and for how long you have to do it in the circumstances. Like, you wouldn't have done that like on a normal day in the shop. I mean,
right?
Like, was it 3 hours on that one, or?
That one specifically, I want to say we had like maybe 3 to 4 hours to do that, and it was literally a lot of pressure to put a lot of detail and lace.
And
like,
that's the time.
These girls got to go pick whatever garter belt they wanted in this lingerie shop and tell us, this is what I want. And so we basically are forced to do a tattoo that we totally understand that we have no time to finish. But, you know, if everybody's doing it, then you have pressure to do it. Shoot, that season, we had to go into jail cells.
Oh, yeah.
Do single needle tattoos.
Was that the
on
first
an inmate? Yeah, and I mean, honestly, like, at the end of it, yes, I learned that those weren't real inmates.
They weren't real inmates?
At the time of, no, they were. It was a fake jail in the middle of Long Island. All the COs were all fake COs. They were all actors. Everybody was an actor.
What the?
But we were in on it. We had no idea.
Yeah, that's the biggest bullshit.
I'm walking into my jail cell and watching everybody else walk into their jail cell, and I'm like, this is so illegal. Like, this is wrong on so many levels.
So did you guys find out like right after you tattooed them? Like, oh,
we didn't find out until the next day, because for the elimination challenge, they brought those guys back, and we had to do cover-up tattoos on them.
Yeah, Byron. Yeah, that's messed up.
It was messed up. It was horrible.
What season was it? Was that the
3? That was the first episode.
I remember that. I remember that one. I was like, this is really stupid.
Yeah.
Like, what if you did something and it was real and an altercation happened. Like, that's a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Well, I mean, the next episode we had to use arc welders and cut grills out for like old cars. I never used an arc welder. I'm like, what if I like get hurt? Like, this isn't safe, man. Like, what are you guys doing? Like, none of this is legal.
I love when they throw you guys into challenges and you're an artist. Like, they expect that you guys are gonna like kill the challenge with whatever it is. Like, I forgot what season was. They had to like whittle the whale bone. I forgot what that's called. Like, who?
I will say every Flash challenge I totally hated, except for the machine building one. Like, to me, like, that was the first time that we got to do something like related to tattooing on a Flash challenge. We got to build tattoo machines and tattoo, and that was an awesome challenge.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't even know how to build a machine, or they're like, oh, what am I doing? Like,
yes, I'm an amateur welder. Cody.
They should bring that back. Like, I think that's be something they should do. Like to even get into the show. Like, you know, the first 14 people who can build the machine, because I mean, you got to know the tool you're working with, and a lot of people took forever to like build the machines.
Season 9 Inkmaster, you have to wrestle a shark.
Bro, you versus the shark while you're doing your painting.
We gotta paint sharks underwater.
It's gonna become more like Fear Factor than Inkmaster. Can you hold your breath for 30 seconds while you're painting a shark? Next episode of Inkmaster.
Kyle got into it with somebody's asking a question. Kyle got into it with Nunez during season 4, because Kyle returned after season 3 on season 4, and then he got kicked off for getting in a fight.
What?
Thank you, Thorosaurus Flex. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Cody Gal, he said wrestle a bear, plot twist, not the kind in the woods. If he's talking about, all right. But I'm curious to see, because they're already filming the new Inkmaster Angels. I don't know if you been keeping up with like all the seasons and
yeah. I watch it. I get stressed out every time they introduce challenges and
PTSD
and the canvases explaining their unrealistic expectations for tattoos. I totally get stressed out watching it.
Oh yeah, my wife was saying it's worse now than ever. Like, I really want to be a canvas, but I have a twitch, so I don't know if they'll let me be a canvas.
You have a what?
I have a twitch. I have a physical Tourette where like my body will shake on its own.
Okay.
So I don't know if they'll let me be a canvas, because I've always wanted to be a canvas on the show.
They might put you on there just because of that.
But I would have these people are so stupid. I would have the best idea. Like, these canvases, like, if you watch the show, why would you come on with this ridiculous idea? You know this is a show. You know they're going to give it to somebody who either sucks or give it to somebody who's going to try to, like, talk you. Like, I don't know. I'll come in with such a good idea to make sure that I'm going to get, like, a good artist.
I promise you, if you email the producers and say, I want to be a canvas, but I have a problem, I have a twitch, it might affect how I get a tattoo, you would be a canvas no matter what. They're like, oh, we're going to totally make that
I mean,
somebody's nightmare.
The thing is, like, when I get tattooed, I can control it more because I know I have to.
Yeah, but
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, my wife's like, I wouldn't tell him that. That's it. Cody, today you're tattooing people with Tourette's using
Naruto. I watched Naruto.
Oh, hey, actually, I have the symbol right there.
Okay. The hidden leaf.
Yeah, I'm a big Naruto. I'm a big Naruto fan. Naruto?
I like Jiraiya.
Hey.
I like the Jiraiya Pain fight was probably like one of my favorite fights in the whole series when Jiraiya fought Pain.
Like that, Jiraiya went down like a G.
Oh yeah, yeah. Jiraiya and Pain fight was one of my favorite, and then Naruto fighting Pain was one of my next favorite, and then
Ironically, one of my favorite fights was one of the first fights with Naruto and Sasuke when they were fighting. Oh my gosh, what's it? Oh, Zabuza. When they were fighting Zabuza.
yeah.
Because yo,
But the Zabuza was like gangster when he turned on the dude and he had the sword in his mouth and still got through the
people
buddy.
don't know how. I would never want to be in the village hidden in the mist. They like he was saying like, oh, like the final thing of that, you have to like kill all of your classmates, and if you're on top, like fuck that.
Yeah, I think my next favorite character is Madara.
Madara.
Like
yeah,
Madara when he came out and he had that guitar looking thing.
Madara.
He was pretty gangster. Yeah, well when he came back.
When he got the whatever they called it.
Yeah, when he came back the last time, like, and he was fighting like that whole army by himself, like that was a gangster fight. But I'm a big Naruto fan.
See, I like a lot of the I won't say random characters, but like I like Shikamaru a lot. Shikamaru.
I like Bushy Brow.
Oh,
when he gets drunk.
Oh,
when he gets drunk.
Oh yeah, when he fought.
Yeah, Rock Lee. Rock Lee's gangster when he gets drunk.
I was just talking about that. Real talk today with one of my friends out when he fought cuz who took the bones out of his body. That fight
that's an awesome fight.
With the drunken.
He's like all drunk the whole time. But then when his mentor fights Madara, and his mentor like opens up all the gates and like gets like sued, that was like cool as heck. I like that part.
Someone asked, where is it? Are your prices hourly or do you just do a price like quote per piece?
Quote per piece. If I'm doing like a portrait or realism or something like that, I definitely will do like $140 an hour. But if I'm doing,
that's really good pricing, by the way, $140 an hour.
I think so. But if I'm doing like my new school stuff, I just give a flat rate depending on the person. You know, if people are easygoing and open-minded, then they probably get a way better price than somebody who's not easygoing and not open-minded.
Well, real quick, we got 2 minutes left on here. We can go on forever, but I know you got your fam. Anything you want to, because it's on top. Anything you want to say in the last 2 minutes that we're on here?
I'm Skinworks Tattoo representing ATL. We're about 45 minutes west of Atlanta. I've had that studio for about 13 years now. Have a couple of really good guys with me. Got a piercer. That's all I'm plugging right now. Skinworks, man.
And then any conventions you're gonna be at for anybody that lives international or not in Georgia?
Well, one of my friends has a studio in the Netherlands. Her name's Firla. And she calls her studio Skinworks. So Skinworks Netherlands. I'm going to be out there in May, tattooing for a week. I have Chino's convention in St. Pete, Florida. That's in June, Inkmania Con. Mm-hmm. And I do that one every year. Great convention, cool little area. I love St. Pete. That's all that's on the books for right now, man. I do the Atlanta convention, not the one that just happened, but I do the one that's been going since 1996. Tony Olivas from Sacred Heart. He has a Atlanta convention that's kind of like August. So I'm doing that.
We got 10 seconds left.
Inkmaster, keep watching Inkmaster. Who knows if I pop up there one day. You never know.
Thank you so much again. It's about to end, but yo, thank you so much for your time.